What's going on, everybody? Malcolm here from Fans Anonymous with a quick video. We just got a new article from the New York Times from Walter Hamada. Now, if you don't know who Walter Hamada is the executive over at DC that's overseeing all of the superhero movies and those alike. We just saw Wonder Woman 84 this past weekend. It's very divisive among fans. A lot of people just don't like it, and I'm one of those people. But we get this new article. And there's on this wall over here, you can't see it right now, I have plans for things I want to do, plans for things I want to do personally in life, plans for things for the channel, just plans, period. Those plans are leading me to get somewhere. I have done things prior to writing down those plans in order to help those new plans succeed. When we look at the current state of the DCEU over there at HBO, I don't see anything that they have done that will help this new plan succeed. So I'm reading this article. I just finished reading it not too long ago. I'm gonna go through it bit by bit on what it is that they claim that they are getting ready to do. The title of the article already threw me off. Managing movie superheroes is about to get a lot more complicated. Sir, it's already been complicated, so I can understand the a lot more complicated. It says that Walter Hamada is not a typical superhero wrangler. He doesn't have a booming fanboy and chief personality. Oh, we know. His modest home office, at least as it appears on Zoom, is lighter than usual cape and cowl collectors. Okay, so he's a Batman fan. Okay, cool. As the president of DC Films, however, Mr. Hamada, 52, he's 52 years old, DC 52, maybe this is his 52nd birthday, do something right, manages the movie careers of Wonder Woman, Batman, Cyborg, The Flash, Superman, and every other DC Comics superhero. And the new course he has charted for them is dizzying. Yeah, it is. It's dizzy because how is this going to make sense? So let's read on. The most expensive DC movies, up to 4 a year, starting in 2022, are designed for release in theaters. Mr. Hamada said additional superhero films, 2 annually, is the goal, perhaps focus on riskier characters like Batgirl and Static Shock. Those will arrive on HBO Max. I can understand Batgirl and Static Shock going on HBO Max because now we're already there, but by that time we will really be at the point where full-fledged movies that would have necessarily been in theaters will be going direct to streaming. Of course, people like Netflix and everybody has been doing this for years, but we're in a new area now. In addition, DC Films, which is part of Warner Brothers, will work with filmmakers to develop movie offshoots, TV series that will run on HBO Max and interconnect with their big screen endeavors. Here goes that word again, interconnect. Now, what you're telling us in this article, Walter Hamada, is that the projects that you are going to do are going to interconnect with each other. So how does what we just watched in Wonder Woman 4 help anything going forward into the future? I don't see it. Right now, I don't see it. But if there was already something in place, I would be able to see it. We can't help but use the MCU as an example. All of the movies that they have put out, all of the TV shows that they're getting ready to put out, and we'll go on these offshoots, these TV series. The WandaVision show is going to tie directly into helping people, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, okay? Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the events from that are going to basically spread out into the larger MCU. The Loki series, the events for that are tied in with the current MCU. All of that is tied in together. Where will these new shows come in? Who knows? One thing that Walter Hamada said is with every movie that we're looking at now, we're thinking, what's the potential Max spinoff? That right there is a problem. Every movie that you have should not have to have a spinoff or a TV show to make it credible. It should be so good that it stands alone on its own. It took years for the MCU to actually put out interconnected TV shows. Now I know you're going to go ahead and say, what about Cloak and Dagger? What about The Runaways? What about all of the Netflix hero shows? What about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Agents of Shield was connected with the larger MCU for maybe about the first 2.5 seasons, and after that, it was cut. So only at that point did Agents of Shield just mention stuff that was going on in the MCU, but it wasn't vice versa. It wasn't a connective tissue where one mentions the other and the other mentions the other back and forth. It didn't happen like that. The Inhumans never really connected with the MCU. The Netflix shows mentioned what happened in the MCU, but it was so far apart that they never really connected. Cloak and Dagger, whole nother, might as well go ahead and say it's a whole other universe, multiverse. Runaways, multiverse type of thing, whole different universe. Even the new show Hellstrom, maybe it has, I haven't watched it yet, but it's on Hulu. It has some type of implications of what we could possibly see in the Blade movie. We don't know yet, but we're just now getting shows where Marvel is explicitly saying these shows are connected to our movies. It's being explicitly said these shows are being connected to our movies. That's a whole different ball game. But for the fact to say, what's the potential HBO Max spinoff from a movie that we did, that's a little convoluted. Because again, that should not be your focus. Your focus shouldn't be movie spinoff, movie spinoff, movie spinoff, movie spinoff. I don't know. And the article says, if you thought there was a glut of superheroes before, just wait. Here's something very important. To make all the storylines work, DC Films will introduce movie audiences to a comics concept known as the multiverse. Parallel worlds where different versions of the same character exist simultaneously. DC TV has already done this. The Arrowverse has already done this. This is not new, nothing new. Coming up, for instance, Warner Brothers will have 2 different film sagas involving Batman. We're playing by 2 different actors running at the same time. Okay. The complicated plan involves a sharp increase in production. Last year, Warner Brothers made 2 live-action superhero movies, Joker and Shazam, in 2018. There was only Aquaman. All 3 were smash hits, underscoring the financial opportunity of making more. So now you're telling me that this is now the multiverse. And that's fine if you're doing it. If you got to use that to clean up the stench, absolutely fine. Go ahead and spray whatever Febreze, Glade, whatever you want to. Johnson & Johnson, whatever. For various reasons, this article says, including creative misfires and management turnover at DC Films, Warner Brothers has badly trailed Disney-owned Marvel at the box office. Over the last decade, Warner Brothers has generated $8 billion in worldwide superhero ticket sales, including $36 million from Wonder Woman 1984 over the weekend. Marvel has taken in $20.6 billion. 23 movies, $20.6 billion. That's a lot. That's a lot. Now, one thing that Warner Brothers will do is put something out, and the Warner Brothers DC Films, they'll put something out, and if it's bad, they keep on going like it's not bad. That's like a new restaurant coming out with a new sandwich and say, this is our all new sandwich. We're putting it out. We want you guys to enjoy it. And then the consensus of people who go to this restaurant say that this sandwich is bad. And then the restaurant just keeps on going on like the sandwich never existed. We've seen McDonald's, Burger King, and a lot of other restaurants do this. I don't get it. I don't get it. The article continues, says, suffice to say, Warner Brothers, which invented the big budget superhero movie in 1978 with Superman, we have to give them their credit, has been under pressure to get its act together. I'm not going to say I can appreciate this, but thanks, I guess, because you've had years to get this together. This is not something brand new. You've had years to get this together. Years to get this together. And now you're just finally saying, we got to get our act together. It's because you're behind. We should have DC and Marvel movies that are competing with each other in the box office every year, but Marvel's kicking their ass. And I try not to be a Disney purist or a Marvel purist, because I legitimately watch more DC content than I do Marvel content. I really do. but they have a track record. They have something for me to debate that's successful. That's 23 movies at $20.6 billion. It's a lot of money. That's why they keep doing what they're doing. The article continues, says Disney has succeeded in part because its divisions collaborate in a way that silo Warner Brothers never has. Now this is where you come in and you bring in the Olive Unsant to fix my life, fix Warner Brothers' life. They are accepting that we don't collaborate, we don't talk to each other, we don't get the job done. When you have all the necessary tools and resources, you have the people over at the comic books, you have the people that are working over on DC TV, you have all of these people, but you do not collaborate within your own house. But it says it's changing that, because AT&T mandated greater gross company synergy when it took over Warner Media in 2018. Walter, and one thing I can appreciate for Walter Hamada in this article, he says, in the past we were so secretive. We were really secretive. It was shocking to me, for example, how few people at the company were actually allowed to read scripts for the movies we were making. The truth is coming out. The truth is coming out, my friend. And this is a good thing. Maybe this is a good thing that this truth is coming out. More than ever, studios are leaning on pre-established characters and brands, especially if their corporate parents are building streaming services. HBO Max has 12.6 million subscriber activations. Netflix has 195 million. How do you delight Wall Street and quickly close the gap? You start by putting your superheroes to work. Superheroes make money now. Superheroes make money. Even non-primetime superheroes. The Boys, the Umbrella Academy. I can go on. There's a list of them. And one thing about this is the fact that the acknowledgement of fault that has taken place with this article that I'm reading. This month, Disney announced 100 movies and new shows. They talk about how everything is matriculating from Disney, and Warner Bros. has at least as many comic-based movies in various stages of gestation, including the Suicide Squad sequel, which I'm excited about because James Gunn is doing it. That's why I'm excited about that movie, not because of Warner Bros., but because of the director behind the project. The Batman, which Robin Pattinson has started, will have Diamond Batman, Sparkle Batman, and Black Adam starred Dwayne Johnson. Now, Black Adam was announced so long ago that people are not even as hyped. So they're going to have to really do something to get us back hyped about Black Adam. Television spinoffs from the Batman and the Suicide Squad are headed to HBO. We learned about this not too long ago. Warner Media's traditional television roughly has 25 additional live-action animated superhero shows, including Superman and Lois, which arrives on the CW network in February. Excuse me. So that means you're now, up early in the article, you talked about the multiverse. Are you now saying that all of these things are going to be connected somehow? Not just with the movies, but movies and TV. Or are you just going to say theatrical releases, HBO Max shows, and just exclude the CW shows? As much as I love DC TV, I'm going to say this, and a lot of people are like, what? I don't see the CW TV, DC TV shows lasting any more longer than the next 4 years. The Flash really has hit a piece in my mind, and I love the Flash. I love all these shows. The Flash really has hit a point in my mind where there's no return. It can end. For me, it can end. Arrow ended. Arrow can end for me. DC Legends of Tomorrow is just a parody show now. They can cancel it now. Black Lightning already is coming up on this final and last season. Supergirl is getting ready to end. They're about to start Superman and Lois. I only see it getting 2 seasons. And then I see that part of DC TV not even being a thing anymore. But we'll see. And then Batwoman. Batwoman just really got started up. I can see Batwoman getting 2 more seasons. So it's really out in the open. It's really out in the open. And then the article goes on to talk about how all of the other companies are collaborating. They're getting their stuff together and they're putting stuff out. They're collaborating. They're talking. Everything that is going on that's making them successful is happening. And this article is basically saying Warner Brothers has not been doing that. Walter Hamada is just basically coming out and admitting guilt and fault that we have not been doing our job. And maybe this is a start. Another thing it says, perhaps the biggest challenge facing Warner Brothers involves the recent prioritization of HBO Max. And that's when it gets conflicted for me, because they're trying to focus on HBO Max and leave the other stuff off to the side. I think they should be separate, collaborating, communicating, but we shouldn't be diverting all the focus into this, and everything else falls to the wayside. And that's what's been happening. That's one of the biggest problems. Everything else has been falling to the wayside. This is a really good article. It's on the New York Times. And they continue to talk about Wonder Woman. And again, what's really about to happen is they're just about to slide on by like Wonder Woman wasn't trash. That's really what's about to happen. Because when you look at it, they're already saying we're fast tracking Wonder Woman 3. But can we talk about Wonder Woman 2 right now? Wonder Woman before? Well, 84, can we talk about that? Can we stop and smell those roses and see what that sin is? I don't know. Of course, we get the Snyder Cut. And then you look at what they're talking about in this article, and they said something about the Snyder Cut. I got to find it for you. With Zack Snyder. One of the things they said was 2 terrifyingly expensive movies, Batman v Superman and Justice League, both directed by Zack Snyder, were deemed almost unwatchable by critics. Ben Affleck, who played Batman in the films, wanted to move on, complicated sequel plans. At the same time, filmmakers were developing other DC movies that had nothing to do with the existing storylines, and in fact contradicted some of them. That's bad too. That's bad. It's good that you admit it, but it's bad. Because you're saying you created 2 movies and then you started creating other stuff that didn't have anything to do with it. That's what I was just talking about. Making something and then not owning up. Well, not owning up, but not owning up that it was bad and going on about your business. And again, there was another point that they made about the Snyder Cut. The answer is that basically Mr. Hamada, they had 2 options: figure out how to make the various storylines of characters, incarnations, coexist, or start over. I wouldn't mind to start over. I really wouldn't. But their answer was to this, the multiverse. It means that some characters, like Wonder Woman, portrayed by Gal Gadot, will continue adventures on Earth 1, while new characters like the Batman, shout out to Grandpa riding by on the motorcycle, everybody. Well, it shows why new incarnations like the Batman will populate Earth 2. This don't sound half bad, because this is something that we already are used to with the CW shows. It's something we're already used to with the CW shows, with Earth 1, Earth 2, all the other Earths that they've been exploring on the CW. So I guess that can work. It's good to notice what you were doing, but I guess that can work. They're talking about the Flash film as well. They said the Flash film is set for release in theaters in 2022, which will link 2 universes and feature 2 Batmans, with Ben Affleck coming back and Michael Keaton coming back. We already know about that. I'm still hung up on that. I don't know how that's going to go, because I don't know how you're going to flesh out your other pieces to lead up to this. Again, we're talking about the plan that was made prior to and the new plan. How do those 2 come together? I have to forget my wingspan is wider than the screen. Then they also talk about Zack Snyder. This was to complicate matters further. HBO gave Mr. Snyder more than $70 million to recut his Justice League and expand it with new footage. Mr. Snyder and Warner Brothers had clashed over his original vision, which the studio deemed overly grim, resulting in reshoots handled by a different director, which is Joss Whedon. Zack Snyder's Justice League, now 4 hours long, will arrive in segments on HBO in March. As for now, Mr. Snyder's not a part of the new DC Films blueprint, with studio executives describing his HBO Max project as a storytelling cul-de-sac, a street that leads nowhere. God damn. A storytelling cul-de-sac that leads nowhere. That's deep. So you gave this man this money, and the only reason you did it is so you can have HBO Max content. Because now you want people to come subscribe to HBO Max, and they're going to say, oh, crap, I'm going to HBO Max so I can watch the Snyder Cut. I've been wanting the Snyder Cut for the last 4 years. I'm going to go subscribe to HBO Max. But are you going to be able to keep those subscribers? What are you going to do to keep those subscribers to HBO Max? That's so important. It's so important. And they admit it. The multiverse concept has worked on television, but is a risky strategy for big screens. I don't know how. All you gotta do is do it. But it is risky for big screens when you have a company like HBO, where Walter Hamada has admitted that they were not working together and that everything over there was a secret. Yeah, that's it. So they end with saying the multiverse concept is working television. These movies need to attract the widest audience possible to justify their cost. And too much of a comic nerd sensibility can be a turnoff. You're right. The movies have to be balanced. New actors can take over a character. James Bond is the best example, but multiple Gotham spinning in theaters? Question mark. You can do it. You can do it. It's gotta be done right. Walter Martin ends with saying, I don't think anyone else has ever attempted this, but audiences are sophisticated enough to understand it. If we make good movies, they will go with it. That last sentence is so important because that's all we've asked for. We will go along with whatever you put out in theaters if it's a good film. I want to know what y'all guys think about this breakdown of this article. It spoke about a lot. It spoke about a whole lot. It broke down a lot. It made everything make sense. It adds some validity to what I've been saying for years to what's going on at HBO. Kudos to Walter Hamada for being that guy to come out and say, hey, we're screwing up. We're going to fix it. I wish nothing but luck because I want good movies. I want good movies from DC. I do. I want to see good Batman movie. I want to see Green Lantern. I want to see these storylines flesh out and make sense. And if you guys make good movies, I'll go along with it. I will. Let us know what you think in the comments below, whether you watch this on YouTube or Facebook. We'll see you guys in another video.